Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne Sharp World, where today we're going to be taking a look at a knife that I can confidently say now, after having it in my fifth pocket for just about 2 weeks, this has without a doubt become one of my favorite fifth pocket knives of all time. And what we have here is the Bestech Be-Hi. Now, before I go any further into this review, I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in today. If you like what you see, please do me a huge favor. Hit that subscribe button, follow along, and I will continue to bring you the content. Now, let's take a look at some overall specs on this knife right here. We have an overall length coming in at 5.24 inches, a blade length coming in at 2.15 inches, and a blade thickness at 118 thousandths. Blade material on this guy is, you always love to see it, 14C 28N. Well, you love to see it on a budget knife because it's one of the best budget steels out there. We have a beautiful hawkbill blade with a flat grind, a handle length coming in at 3.09 inches, and a handle thickness at 465 thousandths. Handle material on this guy is G10 with a liner lock that is an absolute home run. I got a lot to say about this liner lock when we get to that portion of the review. A user of a right hand only tip up carry, but fear not, lefties, I have some good news coming for you. And a weight coming in at 1.83 ounces. This is designed by none other than Ostap Hell. And I gotta say, while I am an Ostap Hell fan, this is quite simply one of his best designs ever, and a price of a very affordable, very reasonable, very nice $63. So yeah, totally good to go there in the price category. And let's take a look at some size comparisons and put it up with some of my other all-time favorite fifth pocket knives. This here, the ProTech Runt. And this one right here, a little bigger, the Spyderco Little Native. And as you can see, pretty much what you would expect. A Little Native is always a little bigger than most of the fifth pocket knives I have, but a very good comparison with the Runt. And now, obviously, these are both American-made knives. Bestech is not American-made. This is made over in China. So let's pull out a couple Chinese budget knives and get some comparisons there. We have the CJRB Milea. You guys already know how much I love this knife. And currently my all-time favorite, the Civivi Baby Banter. This one here is absolutely incredible. Very slicey, very good. It's really good. But this one here is a different type of good, because the one thing that really separates this knife here from the Milea, from the Baby Banter, and from the other two you saw was the blade. Obviously, the ergos too. There's really a lot of unique things about this knife. But a lot would argue that, well, Wayne, this hawkbill blade, it's not nearly as versatile as the other simple drop points or sheepfoot. And yes, that's true. I don't disagree there. But here's where I'm coming from. A fifth pocket knife is usually almost never my primary carry. If I'm carrying a fifth pocket knife, I'm carrying a second knife as well. The second knife is usually going to be bigger. That's going to have that drop pointer, sheep's foot, more of a versatile blade shape. So your fifth pocket knife, at least from my point of view, is more of just kind of a complimentary knife. It can be whatever you want it to be. It can be fun. It can be just for fidgeting. It can be just for popping open boxes. It can be just for something that makes you happy. And this is actually all that. This is affordable. It makes me happy. It is an absolute fidget beast, and it just looks really damn good and has a pretty darn good edge on it. Not the sliciest guy in the world, but plenty good enough for what you need from a fifth pocket knife. Now let's start talking about just this blade here and why I like it so much. First of all, like I said, it's not the sliciest blade, but it is a very respectable blade with an edge reading of 20 thousandths behind the edge, so plenty sharp enough. An absolutely excellent package opener, not only because of that super, super aggressive tip right there, but the way you can hold it and manipulate the blade. It's just very easy, comfy in the hand, very nice for those draw cuts on packages, letters, all that good stuff. The blade shape in general is just extraordinary. The swedge, the cutout on the blade, the lines in general, it's just a very visually attractive knife. It just looks really good. I will definitely be dyeing these scales black. The black is going to go so well with that brass pivot collar, and then that's going to basically perfect this knife for me. So very excited to do that. But the jimping on this spine here is also really good, because there's really two grip positions that we'll get to here when we get to the ergos. You got kind of this regular kind of choked back grip a little, which I feel like this is not like the primary grip, but it's still a really good one. It feels great, and you have jimping there to land your thumb on. And then when you want to choke up and use this choil, then you have this jimping right up here that also works really good if you want to really power through some type of little cut with this, like I said before, very aggressive tip. You have the traction, you have the placement to do that. So really, really like what's going on with this blade. And another really nice note is the satin grind. All the satin grind lines, and then this little area, the flat area up here, is actually stone washed. That is an excellent detail for me. I'm a really big fan of that, really big fan of this blade in general. And when you get into the handle, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, it only gets better because the fit and finish is just impeccable on this knife. Really, from top to bottom, there was no issues with this guy. I was very, very pleased with that. I was actually just really impressed in a couple areas that we'll get to. One thing I want to address real quick for all the lefties out there, like I said when I was reading through the specs, you know, it is technically only right hand only, but hear me out here. I am not a lefty, but okay, yeah. And again, I'm not a lefty, so the fact that I can do that easily, let's do it one more time because I'll probably be able to do it a lot easier now that I've already bumbled it a couple times and looked stupid on camera. There you go. Very easy to middle finger flick it with a left hand, and of course, that reach around is very nice, very good for lefties. So in my opinion, if you don't mind carrying a knife kind of differently in your left pocket here with the blade facing outwards instead of back like it is most of the time, this is plenty good to go for lefties. Lefties can easily carry this, and the feel of this guy in hand for a lefty is really good too. The clip doesn't bother you. I really think this knife would be really good for most lefties as long as you're okay with carrying a right-handed knife when you're lefty. I feel like a lot of lefties are because they don't get quite the love they deserve on a lot of knives. So I know some people personally, they do just get used to that. So if you're one of those people that can carry a right-handed knife lefty, you're going to still really like this. It's good to go for lefties in my opinion. But back to the handle from a righty's point of view, it just feels good. It feels excellent in hand. There's no hot spots. The choil here, the way the handle curves back, it fits in my hand perfect. Like, I have absolutely zero complaints. I will say if you have thicker fingers or just kind of, you know, thicker mitts in general, you may not like this knife in hand because I feel like it's gonna feel good in most hands because I feel like my hands are a little bigger and wider than the average person. So the average hand is gonna be maybe a little smaller, maybe, you know, maybe a little skinnier fingers, who knows? But I think most hands is gonna be good. But if you get any wider or any, you know, thicker fingers than me, you may not like it. But yeah, gonna be good to go for most people. The liner lock. Time to talk about this liner lock. Look at this. So a lot of liner locks aren't going to have this. You have this milling that's kind of like the stair-stepped milling in here that you don't feel the actual, you kind of feel it. It kind of has the very subtle feel of like jimping in here. But what you really notice when you use this liner lock is just how easy it is to just get your finger in there and close the blade. This honestly, this feels like a feature that should be on a $250 plus, $300 plus knife. And you don't even see it on some knives that expensive. This is like an ultimate flex for a budget knife, in my opinion. These are the little details that really get me excited about something. Not only did they do all the nice milling and texturizing there to make that liner lock perfect, they made it an inset liner lock. They gave you enough room at the front there. This is like liner lock insert or liner lock access at its absolute finest. It doesn't get any better than this. It can only be as good, in my opinion. This is absolutely fantastic, and it makes the overall operation of this knife just so much better, so much easier. Now, again, for righties, that's again where you're gonna have or for lefties, that's where you're gonna have kind of that little bit of an issue, but you can still obviously just simply, you know, kind of do that number. But again, it is geared more towards righties, but still good for lefties if you're okay with that. Pocket clip, nothing special, but it works. I like the fact that it's not super deep carry since it's a fifth pocket knife. Really easy to pull out of that fifth pocket, and doesn't sit too high out of the fifth pocket. It's actually really comfortable. Some knives that sit a little higher up in your fifth pocket, it can kind of become a little like pressure point when you sit down. It can kind of get like, there's no way I can really show you with my hands, but you put it in your pocket, and if too much of it sticks up, it kind of, it pokes you. The end of the top or bottom of the knife can actually poke into your thigh or your gut, wherever it's pushing into your body, so that's not good. But the rest of this handle is just fantastic. Like I said, simple. All G10, nothing too expensive from a material standpoint, but fit and finish is phenomenal. It has that nice kind of like, not necessarily texturing, but kind of just a nice finish of, just a very clean finish on that G10. Nothing, no shavings or scratches or anything, just very, very nice. And the liner lock is just, like I said before, it's absolutely phenomenal. So now you get into the action on this guy, and that is where this thing is just, I honestly, so obviously I've used this knife a pretty good amount. If you can see, I tried not to clean the tip off too much so you could see how much I used it to open up packages and whatnot. So it's got some adhesive gunk and all that good stuff on it. But from a fidget standpoint, it is a fidget monster. It's great to middle finger flick. It's great to front flip. It's great to reach around. And to be honest, I haven't even done a whole lot of the little, what did I call this, like comb over or something last time? You can do it. You got to be a little more comfortable with it because of the angle of it. Yeah, it may not be the best thing in the world, but you can do it. It can definitely be done, but for me, just this right here, this regular front flip is so good on this. It reminds me of like a mini budget Olamic whippersnapper. Immediately, one of the first thoughts I had was whippersnapper because of the front flipper design, the overall design. I mean, come on, this definitely, I feel like this has to remind a lot of people of a whippersnapper. I'm not saying there was any influence or anything there because it's obviously a pretty different knife in its own right. So don't get it confused. I'm not trying to go that way with it. I'm just saying I love a good Olamic whippersnapper, and for this knife, it just works. The design is fantastic. The action's phenomenal. Fidget friendly, affordable, premium quality for what it is. This is a home run from Best Tech. It really, really is. And I truly mean, this is easily one of my favorite fifth pocket knives of all time. I just recently made my favorite fifth pocket knife video, so I'm not going to update it for just one knife. But next time that video rolls around, I can guarantee you will see this in it. I don't know where. It is very, very likely this is probably going to be in the top 5 because just from a price standpoint, from a design and ergos and fidget factor, like it checks all the boxes for me. It's so, so good, so fun to fidget with, very nice to use, and just a great little piece to put in the pocket. That is it, guys. The Best Tech Be-Hi. Let me know what you think of it. It's dropping today, so it should be available at some places. Sometimes the rollout's a little slow. I believe it's in stock at Blade HQ. I'll put a link in there, and if I can find them in stock anywhere else, I'll throw some links in there for you. But again, highly, highly recommend it. Fantastic little fifth pocket budget knife. Let me know what you guys think. Really hope you enjoyed this one. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And until the next one, I'm out.